supporting Doug.
The cancer support community of Greater St. Louis provides social, emotional, and education support for those affected by cancer. Joining me are Executive Director Scott G. and Program Director Renata Sledge. Thank you both for being here. We've got a great upcoming fundraiser that we're going to get into and to talk about, but I first want to kind of, as we said, set the stage, talk a little bit more about the organization, what it does, and some of the programs. So why don't we get things started? I mean, Cancer Support Community of Greater St. Louis, I know I've done an interview many years ago, but let's kind of refamiliarize people with the organization.
Great. So we provide support groups, educational workshops, stress management and healthy lifestyle workshops, and social connections for people with cancer, their friends and family, and people who've lost somebody to cancer. Okay. We also have a program called Families Connect for children and teens who have a parent or grandparent with cancer.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of these programs, the specifics of it. I mean, I think at this stage, we all can say that we know someone, we've been affected somehow, whether it's somebody directly in our family or a friend. And so I've lost friends and a father to cancer, and I mean, it's really detrimental. Talk about specifically some of the programs and how that works.
Sure. So when people call us and say, I've either been diagnosed with cancer or I have a family member with cancer, they talk with a social worker, a licensed clinical social worker, and we ask them questions about their experience, what they're looking for. We find out about the areas that are most distressing for them. Are they concerned about talking to friends and family? Are they concerned about making treatment decisions? And then we schedule a time for them to come in, and we connect them with either a support group or one of the workshops we have that addresses their primary concerns. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what their concerns are, they find in our community colleagues, friends, connections, people who really understand their experience of living with uncertainty, living without control, and wondering what's next to hope for. How does cancer change what they are hoping for in their lives? And they're able to find that in all of those programs.
I think too, and you bring up, some of the points that you mentioned. I mean, when that diagnosis comes along, it's sort of like the world just sort of closes in. I mean, I think people think about when they know someone, what would I do? But when in fact it does happen, there's not a lot of time, and you find yourself in a sort of emotional free fall. You obviously financially how that impacts your work, and so where do you go? And I mean, I think it's great to have that there is a dedicated nonprofit that you can make that first call at the very least, so that you can sort of give them sort of like a sort of landscape of what options that they might have.
Right, help them plan it and help them get some control over things, help them figure out what's next for them. And all of that happens at no charge. So they're able to work with licensed mental health professionals and professionals in their fields, professional yoga instructors, professional chefs, whoever we have there are trained in working with people affected by cancer. But our members who come to us get all of that benefit at no charge.
And so how have things changed? It's been 23 years, is that correct, in St. Louis?
Yeah.
So how has the organization changed over the past 2 decades?
So I think some of perhaps the biggest area of change is the Families program, our Families Connect program for children and teens who have parents with cancer. We've known for as long as people have lived with cancer that the entire family is affected, but really understanding how children and teens are affected is new in this oncology world in the last 10 to 20 years. And so we've been able to, in the last 5 years, really grow a program so that children and teens who have parents who have just been diagnosed or who have been living with cancer for a while can really connect with other children and teens to understand what's happening, to discuss fear and loss, and just to learn new ways to cope.
Coping and having something to ground them and having the language to speak about it. Obviously, none of these things would be possible without funding, and so you've got a great event coming up. We're going to talk about it in the next segment, but right now we're going to put some information for you on the screen. This is about the upcoming event, which we're going to get into the next segment. But for more information in general about Cancer Support Community of Greater St. Louis, go to cancersupportstl.org. But don't go anywhere, stay with us. We've got more about this upcoming event we're going to talk about, so please stay with us right after this break.